You guys have just found us such high level people. It's been a nice, fresh breath of air, and it's been exciting.
We started the partnership with KO around, I believe it was August 2024. So what we are trying to gather is how adaptive teams have helped KO to build an offshore team through this time. I believe that now we have around 70 contractors with you guys. If you can describe what was the initial situation or the challenge before partnering with adaptive teams.
KO Storage, so we're a remote self-storage operator. And I think the vision specifically first started in the call center. Mm-hmm. And we were having to onboard call center agents like very, very quickly, very fast. We were having some like physical constraints in our building, and our call center actually used to all be inside of our building downstairs. And it got to a point where we were like, we can't continue to grow with this team in this building. So then the first step was, before we even got involved with adaptive teams / Solarplex, was we had our team starting to like work remotely. And then the idea came forth of like, what could it look like offshore? And it was kind of nervous at first because we had never done anything with it. We weren't sure how our team was going to take it. And it really just felt like a way that we could scale. So I believe we first started with like 4 agents that we went to market for. One of them is still with us on the district coordinator team, Javier, but we started with those 4. And I think we had a lot of good learnings from like those 4 core. But that's what kind of got us there, was just like, how do we properly scale with space and financially, and what makes the most sense, because our business is quite seasonal as well. We needed people that were open to working really flexible schedules. And we found a lot more success with that in hiring and offering those positions to offshore agents.
So what type of other works did you started jumping into after that? So you started with the call center, and what was the next step?
I think the next step, it stayed in the call center for a while. Like we grew the call center maybe to like 10 to 12 agents, like pretty quickly. And then we were like there for a while, and that was working well. We did have some turnover and just like some things that we worked through with adaptive teams to like get the right people. But the next department, I believe, was revenue management. And they onboarded revenue analysts, I believe. And then it trickled to accounting, onboarding offshore accountants. And I believe the most recent has been the asset managers, and then IT also, I believe, has two Solarplex contractors working with us in that department. So it's honestly kind of touched every single department in KO now. And it's pretty cool because every time we have the idea or the need for another role, it's the first thing we think of is like, could this be something offshore that we could develop someone into? And most of the time it is.
And how did the KO's team change on the day-to-day operations based on the offshore?
Yeah, so it mostly impacted like the leadership teams. Like specifically, I can speak mostly on the call center because that is a team that reports to me. So I know most of their business. But Nicole and Ren, when our teams were physically here, their door was like a revolving door. Like they had trouble like getting things done throughout the day because it was like constantly people walking in, needing things, like all of this stuff. And it's actually been very nice that they've had an offshore team because of course they ask questions and whatnot, and they're there to support and help the team, but they're not as distracted. So like they can focus more on leading the team than like helping with like these very minute, like day-to-day type things. And we've just found that the offshore team is a lot more self-sufficient as well. And that's also just supported Nicole and Ren to be able to like be more high-level leaders, which has been amazing to watch. You guys have just found us like such high-level people. And it's just honestly been it's been a nice, fresh breath of air. And it's been exciting.
How would you describe like the overall quality and skills and professionalism of the contractors that we are sourcing through adaptive teams?
I think it's gotten better and better. I feel like every round that we hire for, it's like we make little tweaks every single time. And now I think the people that we're hiring now are incredibly high level team members. I think in the beginning, it was just communication about like scheduling, pay, like they were confused on holidays, like things that just like got to be issues, or they said that they were available for weekends, but then they started and then they're like, oh, I'm actually not available for weekends. So we worked really closely with Menno and with Darko to just like be really transparent in the interview process. And that's it's gotten better and better each time.
And again, you mentioned before that one of the first hires for agent is now working in a different team, is working as a district coordinator. So how's the experience with continuity, with long-term relationship with this kind of offshore team?
Yeah, I think a lot of them, at least on the field operations side, which is my team, anytime that we've had positions open where like the district coordinator, for example, like that was a new role last year. We originally had these 3 roles open and we were like, I would love to promote somebody out of the call center because they already learned Storable Edge, which is our CRM. They know us as a company. Like, are there any rock star agents that we could develop into this district coordinator role? So I partnered with Nicole and Ren, and they were like, yeah, these are the 3 that I think would be amazing. We interviewed them or like had conversations with them about it, like a structured interview, but we just like presented it and like gauged them if it was something that they were interested in. And I think they were so happy because I don't think that they knew that like promotion opportunities could happen. And like we want them to truly feel like a part of our culture. And that's a way to do it too, that like there's not necessarily like a ceiling here. Like we want to take them along with us. So yeah, I think it's gone really well. I love having the opportunity to promote somebody either out of the call center or just into the next level. We try to do that in office here, and we feel the same way about offshore.
And just FYI, every time I do an interview, I tell candidates that if they exceed, they will be able to keep on growing within KO, because I saw that from the beginning that some of the candidates that were in a different position were able to grow, and that's amazing. Not every company does that, so that's a good career path for them, I think.
I mean, like, take this security department, like this is new. Like we don't have nobody here that is the security manager. It's technically me, and I don't know anything about it. And like even talking with Alex today, I was like, you could be a security manager like in the future. When we continue to like grow that department out, like he just is so passionate. So yeah, I'm already thinking like 10 steps ahead.
How was for you working with recruiting, with onboarding, the support that we are able to provide, the good and the ugly? What do you think about the support the adaptive teams has provide?
I think that it's evolved. Definitely in the beginning, like we had to have some really direct conversations that we were comfortable having, but like we wanted to be very respectful. And I think that those were very well received. And again, like every time it happened and we provided feedback, it got better and better. But I feel like we're in the strongest place right now. Like I know that if we just hired 4 roles in the last like month, and they're all working out really, really well. I think it's an absolute joy to work with you. I look forward to having to hire people because I get to communicate with you more. I think that you're so on it. Like your communication is incredibly clear. You're such a joy to speak with. And I'm very happy with where our recruiting relationship is now. It just feels very supportive. And I think that you guys truly put your best foot forward to have our best interest.
And beyond hiring, how do you think we are supporting the team?
I think good. I think Sabrina stepping in has been a game changer. Not to say that Darko wasn't super helpful. He was very much, but I think that we're getting a lot of attention right now. We're ironing out a lot of the things that we weren't sure about before, like holidays, the time offs, the things like that. And it sounds like we actually started kind of just doing those things because we didn't know how to do it elsewhere a different way. Now it just feels like Sabrina is very guiding us on recommendations on if we need to make decisions on a hire or a term, anything like that. It just feels like she's very in the weeds with us, which is amazing. So we're super happy to have Sabrina, and just her detail is fantastic.
I think that every time that you have to do an onboarding for a new team, and I'm speaking for us, right? So every time that I had to onboard Mari as a recruiter or Sabri in the HR team, we have a lot of things to cover, but it's been very nice working with you guys because we're seeing that the more we jump in, the more information we got from you guys. So it's now we are building something very strong, and we are happy to do that. And do you remember when we started working, it was for building this offshore team and guiding on HR kind of task after the onboarding and all that. But do you remember a moment or if a moment happened that adaptive team were providing something unexpected value, or made your job easier, something extra that we were able to do?
I think in my more recent memory, I think the security roles and like next step like of a background check and really like digging into their history made me feel really good with that. I honestly, maybe we talked about it, I don't remember, but when you were like, we're going to be running background checks, I was like, that's incredible. I didn't know you guys did that. So I think that was just like a cherry on top of like, oh my gosh, that feels really good.
And I will remember to share with you the feedback that we got from Karen. So one of the things that we highlight when we talk with candidates and we ask background checks is like, this is not going to be, you're going to get the job or not. This is more an approach of how can we help you to succeed based on your previous experience. And they are so open, and previous managers or employers, they are so open as well when we share that kind of request. Like, we want to make sure to help them. So it's a good strategy to get like honest feedback, I think. So we're going to try to push it a little bit more and try to implement that on next hirings as well. So thank you for the feedback, for being open to it. And let's keep on bringing best talent to the team. Have a happy Monday, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.